Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, BNI members and leaders throughout the world. This is Graham Weimiller, Chairman and CEO of BNI. Welcome to BNI's Growing Forward Together live tour. This is a special event. We're so honored that you're here with us to help celebrate achievements around the world and learn from BNI's founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. And so we are live to 70 countries in 14 languages. This is a fantastic event, unprecedented in BNI's 35-year history. And before I go forward, I would like to say a special thanks to the BNI National Directors for sponsoring this event. The leadership of BNI is exemplified day in and day out by BNI National Directors and Executive Directors throughout the world. And so we're honored to have them be jointly sponsoring this event. I also would like to say a special thanks to BNI's global support team for their work in innovating over the last several months and helping BNI members meet via BNI Online. And since March 16th of this year, just a few months ago, BNI members have closed on $3.7 billion US dollars in closed business via nearly 3 million referrals. So I want to say congratulations to all BNI members worldwide for that fantastic amount of business building and economic activity. And so with that, I would like to introduce Dr. Ivan Misner, founder and Chief Visionary Officer for BNI. And so many of you are well acquainted with Dr. Misner, who is a close friend and mentor of mine. And what I'd like to mention is that, he founded BNI 35 years ago. And of course, it's become the world's largest and most successful networking organization in the world. Today, we have nearly 270,000 member businesses in 70 countries. And Dr. Misner's vision is that we continue changing the way the world does business. He's called the father of modern networking by CNN and one of the top networking experts in the world by Forbes. He's considered to be one of the world's leading experts on business networking. He's a New York Times bestselling author who has written 24 books, and he regularly speaks and appears on numerous TV and radio shows, including CNN, the BBC, and the Today Show on NBC. And it's with great pleasure that I present to you our founder and today's keynote speaker, Dr. Ivan Misner. So with that, Ivan, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Graham. I'm really excited by this Growing Forward Together world tour. What a fantastic idea. And I'm going to be talking about the topic of refusing to participate in the recession. But before I do, I want to take a moment to thank you, Graham. Your leadership during the COVID pandemic, well, frankly, I think BNI exists today because you were looking around a corner and you saw this coming and transitioned our chapters very quickly to online all around the world during the pandemic. And I'm very, very grateful for what you did to keep this company alive and to help hundreds of thousands of businesses during the pandemic. So thank you, Graham.
Well, it's really been your vision and the values of the organization that's made it all happen. So I've just been inspired by what we've seen in terms of innovation in the field. But thank you for the words. I appreciate them.
Well, thank you. First, let me say that we are all in this together. We've all experienced what I like to call the great pause. I don't like calling it the quarantine or the lockdown that's so negative. I like to, whenever possible, get a mindset of positivity with something. And this was the great pause. The pause button has been hit on all of our businesses during the last few months. The problem is that we have a double whammy. We have the COVID-19, and then we're moving into a global recession in most countries. And while we've all been impacted by COVID, and that's new for all of us, it was new for us, we are now being impacted by a recession. And I'm here to tell you, BNI knows how to work through a recession. We've worked through the pandemic, but we definitely know how to work through recessions. The question is how? How are we going to respond to the economy that we're all in now after the pandemic? if you are part of a personal network, if you have a strong personal network, you have a huge advantage over other people. So let me talk a little bit about how we apply that advantage. First of all, I really believe that it's important to microdose the news. Microdose the news. There is so much negativity out there. To be honest with you, what I do is in the morning, I get up and I look at an app and check out what news I need to know so that I know what's going on in the world. And then I work. And then before I go to bed, I put pull out the app again and take a look at it. If all you do, though, as I know one person who has literally sat in front of the television watching the news for hours on end, he is absolutely sure that the sky is falling, the world is coming to an end, everything is horrible, and how are we possibly going to get out of this? We're not going to get out of this. Wow, talking to him, you got to microdose the news. Get what you need to know and focus on the things that will help you be successful. That means that I believe it's about looking for solutions, looking for ways to innovate, to add value, to stay connected with people. You got to be doing something. Don't do nothing. If all you do is focus on a problem, you will become an expert at problems. However, if you focus on solutions, you can become an expert at solutions. And I know these are difficult times. And so sometimes I've been known to throw myself a pity party, and you may want to throw yourself a pity party as well. These are terrible times. How am I going to get through it? But I'm here to tell you, look, pity parties, they're not going to help. I know I've thrown them for myself. When it's over, I'm in the same situation. I just feel worse. This is about taking control and doing something positive. It's about fear versus focus. Fear versus focus. If you are living in the position of fear, you will be frozen by it. You will not know what to do. You will believe that the sky is falling. What I have found is that it's those people who become focused by the fear, focused by the situation, that not only survive difficult times, they can actually thrive during difficult times. And I have seen this over and over again. I'll tell you a true story about the first time I really witnessed this as it applies to an economy. I was at a networking event years ago. It was on the East Coast in the United States. And it was 1990. It was the first recession I had been through after starting BNI. And that was the only topic of discussion at this event. It was a chamber event. And it was the only topic of discussion. Everyone was just frozen in fear. They were obsessed with how bad the economy was. And it was such a depressing meeting. And I walked around the room and I saw one gentleman standing by himself in the corner. And he was by himself, and I walked on up to him, introduced myself, and I thought I made the mistake of saying, I did say it, and I immediately thought it was a mistake. So how's business? And I thought, oh, why did I ask that question? Because now he's gonna just unload about how bad business is. And he looked at me and he said, business is great. Business is great. What business are you in? He said, real estate. I said, you're in real estate and business is great? He said, yeah. He said, actually, this is my best year ever. I said, real estate market has nosedived. This is your best year ever? Yeah, he said. I said, is this your first year in real estate? He said, no. I've been in real estate for 10 years. I said, how could this possibly be your best year ever? He said, oh, well, and he looked at his coat and he said, oh, I'm not wearing it. And he reached into his pocket and he pulled out a button and he held up the button. And the button said, I refuse to participate in a recession. I looked at him and I said, that's it? you have a button. So you're having your best year ever. He said, well, no, that's not it. He said, that's the start of it. It's about mindset. You have to have the right mindset. You have to take a look at the economy and the situation that you're in, and you have to turn lemons into lemonade. You have to find what opportunities exist at the moment. I said, all right, so take me to school a little here. What opportunities could there possibly be in real estate right now? He said, there are two big opportunities right now. I said, okay, well, what are they? He said, first, commercial real estate investors. He said, they are the perfect audience. I'm going to people who I know invest in commercial properties or residential properties to lease out. I'm going to them and I'm saying, look, you cannot come to me 2 years from now and say, oh, I wish I'd have bought that duplex you showed me. The real estate market is back up. It's more expensive than I can afford. He said, you can't do that. You've got to take a look at some of the properties that are out there right now because they're really priced right. And so people are saying, all right, I'll take a look. I'm selling more investment properties than I have ever sold in my life. He said, that's one. Here's the second one. It's almost the opposite end of the spectrum. First-time home buyers. I'm going to first-time home buyers and I'm saying, real estate's on sale. You couldn't buy a piece of property last year because it was just too expensive and the rates were up, but you can afford to get into a starter home today. The prices are down, the interest rates are low, it's perfect. And he said, I'm selling more first-time home buyers than I've ever sold before. And then he said, look around the room. He said, see that real estate agent over there? See that one over there? There's another one over here. He said, half of them are going to be out of business by next year. I said, really? He said, yeah. I mean, all they're talking about is how bad business is. They're here at a networking event, and what are they doing? They're talking about how bad business is. He said, it doesn't complain to tell people how bad business is because half the people you tell don't care, and the other half are glad you're worse off than they are. He said, you got to focus on the positive, and there are, in fact, positives. And I'm going to be in business next year, but I'm going to have half the competition because while everyone else is frozen, I'm focused. I was so impressed with that story from that real estate agent. I immediately went out and produced thousands of buttons that had the BNI logo on it, and it said, I refuse to participate in a recession. We know how to work recessions. We've been there. And the first step is that you've got to focus on the opportunities that in fact exist. I remember a number of years ago in Austin, Texas, where I live now, I had an opportunity to meet a gentleman who started his own moving and storage business. And he said, I cashed out my retirement account. I took all the cash that I had and I invested it in a tractor trailer, a storage facility, and an office. I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, to own my own business. And so I started my own business. And the first couple of months were really good. The problem was that was early 2008. And the recession, the Great Recession, hit me right over the head. And he said, I immediately realized that I needed to build a powerful personal network. And so I went out, he told me, and I joined a BNI group. He said, not only did we make it through the recession, we actually grew during the recession. Today, this same man is in multiple chapters of BNI. He's got dozens of trucks, multiple locations in different states. He and many other people refuse to participate in a recession. And that's the way you do it. Let's take a look at some hard data on this, some hard facts on this. Here is BNI's growth from 1985 through the end of 2019. Now, let me first show you the first recession that BNI went through in 1990. Here's the first line for our recession in 1990. Now, you can't really tell if there's any growth, but trust me, we continued to grow at the same rate in 1990 as we did in 1989. Here's the second line in the graph, and this is in 2001. What did the recession do to membership? Went up. Then the Great Recession, 2008. What happened to membership? Went up. How could this be? Here's how. When times are tough, people, successful people, get focused. And when they get focused, they realize they need to have a powerful personal network. And so people become more active in networking organizations than ever. And so we know how to work through recessions. We have done billions of dollars of business for our members. We've helped our members generate billions of dollars in business during recessions. And we're going to do it through this one as well. I don't know what our future holds, but I do know that we can definitely influence it. And we influence it by starting with the right mindset. And once you have that right mindset, you start to build your personal network and you can weather difficult times. We can all weather difficult times. You can be empowered by utilizing that network of contacts to help you weather through the storm. This will pass. I know it doesn't feel like it at the moment, but it will. I've been through several of them. It will pass. And when it does, you will be better positioned than any other people in your industry because you've activated your network and you're still using it while others are paralyzed by what's happening around them. Have a plan and work that plan. Don't let fear paralyze you. Let it focus you. If all the people in an organization row in the same direction, that organization can dominate any industry in any market against any competition at any time. And the way to do that is to be focused, not fearful. Your network can help you get through this and out the other side successfully. That's what a network is for. BNI is taking the lead in helping to get the global economy rolling again. We've already generated, as you've heard, $3.7 billion with a B, $3.7 billion in business. During the middle of the great pause, while many people are stuck and not doing any business, we have BNI members who are not only supporting each other emotionally, but they're supporting each other financially by continuing to pass referrals to one another. Just watch what we're going to do for small business next. We're talking to other well-known business leaders to form a coalition of support for our members during this recovery. If you stay healthy, your network will help you stay successful. Hope is more powerful than fear. Hope is that little voice whispering inside you about what can be when everyone around you is screaming what can't be. Hope plus a plan plus action will lead you successfully through these times. If you have hope, we have a plan, and we can all take action. Today, more than ever, you need BNI. Today, more than ever, you need a powerful personal network that will help you grow, not just maintain business, but grow during difficult economic times. Growing forward together. I love that theme, growing forward together. Join me and 270,000 business professionals all around the world by saying, I refuse to participate in a recession. Graham, over to you. I think we have a couple of questions that we're going to chat about.
Yeah, outstanding. Very true words and very inspirational words for all of us. So thank you so much for that perspective on behalf of everyone that's listening. And just a couple questions. First, in terms of pivots or adjustments that you've seen businesses make during this time, what are one or two examples that really stick out in your mind?
Yeah, I'd love to do that. First of all, I just did a group dance card with a number of members last week. And one of the things they said was that the members have really come together to provide each other with moral support, emotional support during these difficult times. And, that's one of the benefits that we don't talk about in BNI. I remember the Northridge earthquake and the damage that was done in Southern California. And I went to the chapter meeting, which was 2 days later, and the chapter didn't know it, but the restaurant had been um, it had been closed down because there was too much damage. And so they hadn't been told, and they showed up, and there was the entire chapter in the parking lot. And they held their meeting in the parking lot in a great big circle. And the president ran the meeting, except instead of asking for referrals, the question was, how can we help you? Well, is everyone safe? Are you doing okay? What can we do to help? Well, I remember one person saying we have no running water, and another person saying I have big bottles of sparklets water. I can take some to you. And there was all this incredible emotional support. I've seen the same kind of thing during the pandemic, but I've also seen incredible success stories. Here's two that I absolutely love. One was a furniture reupholstery store. They were a BNI member, and not exactly an essential business, furniture reupholstery. And they talked with BNI members and came up with the idea of, hey, we have a lot of cloth. Why don't we start making COVID-19 masks and see if they sell? And so she made up a series of masks, gave out about 100 to directors and members of her chapter, and said, hey, look, would you share this with hospitals and nurses and anybody in the medical professions? And then she started getting orders to make cloth masks and was able to employ her employees during this period of time by making masks. Here's another great story I heard just last week in Australia. A BNI member was a brewery, and he sold retail, and of course he couldn't have people there. And so what he did was he took the alcohol production and went into making hand sanitizer with an alcohol based. And he said the first day, he told all of the members of his chapter, the first day he put it on sale, he sold $15,000 worth of hand sanitizer. A brewery who pivoted, and with the help of his network, not only is surviving, but is actually thriving during COVID. Those are some amazing stories that I've heard.
Absolutely. And I just want to echo your comments around chapters being there for personal support as well. Like you, I've seen that over the last 5 or 6 years, and after natural disasters around the world, BNI members coming together, chapters coming together right away to help each other and their communities rebuild. So that is one fantastic way that BNI chapters and members respond in these situations for sure. Terrific. Well, now speaking to chapter leadership teams, what are some techniques that you might share with them so that their chapters continue moving forward in a very positive and productive manner?
So I think the best thing for chapters to do, and I've had a lot of leadership teams ask me this question, is during challenging times, the core values are more important than ever. And so really focus in on the core values of whatever business you're in BNI, focus in on the core values of the organization, starting with our principal core value, our philosophy, givers gain. And wow, I have seen so much of that. I'm humbled by what I have seen happen with members supporting each other with that core value. But positive attitude, just as important. That's one of our core values. And lifelong learning, relationships, recognition, traditions plus innovation. Wow, we've really seen that over the last few months. All of these core values. When any company, when any organization is going through challenging times, if you revert back to a focus on the core principles that have created the culture, because the core values are the foundation of a culture. If you can go back to those core values and focus on those, I think you can keep the meetings lively and interesting and positive and focused. And one way to do that is the education coordinator each week. And Graham, you do this with staff. You do it so incredibly well. You start every meeting by having a staff person talk about the core values, or a core value that they really like, and talk about it from their heart and why they like it. I think chapters should do that, especially right now. Have the education coordinator pick a core value, talk to members and say, hey, I'm going to call on you. Which core value would you like? So they know, and they're prepared to talk about that. By understanding those core values, you maintain the culture. And as we know, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And if you have a great culture and a great strategy, you're an industry leader. Great questions.
Yeah, I think the core values are so powerful for us as leaders in BNI, for us as leaders in organizations, and for us personally. I feel like those core values are so transferable across all those settings. And so thank you so much for bestowing upon the organization those core values, which have really enabled BNI members and the organization as a whole to continue serving the global business community during this time. So terrific. Well, what fantastic words of advice and inspiration from Dr. Ivan Meisner. Stay hopeful, follow a plan, and put that plan into action. 3 of the many points from Ivan's responses. And so I want to thank all of you for joining us today as part of BNI's Growing Forward Together World Tour. This is a really unprecedented and special event, a way for us to collaborate as a global organization of purpose-driven business leaders, supporting all of those around us now more than ever. And I want to thank you, especially Dr. Meisner, for founding this terrific organization that we all have the honor to participate in. And I especially want to thank you again for your advice and inspirational message today.
My pleasure. Can I just add one thing? We've got something coming up that I think is really exciting, and it's our program on BNI Restart the World. Restart the World. In the coming months, I'm going to reach out to other business leaders, people you know, business leaders, to partner with BNI to help restart the world and to refuse to participate in the recession. Thanks, Graham.
Absolutely. Thank you. We look forward to that and to many exciting opportunities to collaborate globally with business leaders who are looking to continue changing the way the world does business. For now, continue on in the core values that we all can share within, and continued success. Thank you all, and have a great day.